Welcome to Dates and Dead Guys. This is going to be a little bit different than most of my other videos in that it's going to serve as a preface for one that I have coming out next week. The inspiration for the episode that's coming has to deal with a wolf attack that was alleged to have taken place in Russia in 1911. The claim made by the New York Times was that a wedding party of over 100 people is murdered and devoured by wolves. And if you take a look at Russian history from the time, there is a fair amount of strange stories like this. So we're going to get into the evidence behind them and some of the folklore in regard to wolves in Russia. But in the meantime, check this out. Wolves kill bridal party. Only 2 escape out of 120 in Asiatic Russia. St. Petersburg, March 8th. Quote, tragic detail of the fate of a wedding party attacked by wolves in Asiatic Russia while driving on sledges to the bride's house, where a banquet was to have taken place, are now at hand, and their ghastly realities surpass almost anything ever imagined by a fiction writer. The exceptionally severe weather has been the cause of many minor tragedies in which wolves have played a part, but perhaps none has ever been known so terrible as that now reported, since in this instance no fewer than 118 persons are said to have perished. A wedding party, numbering 120 persons, set out in 30 sledges to drive 20 miles from the village of Ostenpov to Tashkent. The ground was thickly covered with snow, and the progress was necessarily delayed, but the greater part of the journey was accomplished in safety. At a distance of a few miles from Tashkent, the horses suddenly became restive, and the speculation of the travelers changed to horror when they discerned a black cloud moving rapidly toward them across the snowfield. Its nearer approach showed it to be composed of hundreds of wolves, yelping furiously and evidently frantic with hunger, and within a few seconds the hindmost sledges were surrounded. Panic seized the party, and those in the van whipped up their horses and made desperate attempts to escape, regardless of their companions, but the terrified horses seemed almost incapable of movement. A scene frightful, almost beyond description, was now enacted. Men, women, and children shrieking in fear, defending themselves with whatever weapons they could, but to no avail, and one after another fell amidst the snarling beasts. The wolves, roused still further by the taste of blood, rushed toward the leading sledges, and though the first dozen conveyances managed to stave them off for a time, it was only at a terrible cost, since it asserted that the women occupants were thrown out to be devoured by the animals. The pursuit, however, never slackened, and the carnage went on until only the foremost sledge, that containing the bride and bridegroom, remained beyond the wolves' reach. A nightmare race was kept up for a few hundred yards, and it seemed as though the danger was being evaded. Then suddenly a fresh pack of wolves appeared. The 2 men accompanying the bridal couple demanded that the bride should be sacrificed, but the bridegroom indignantly rejected the cowardly proposition, whereupon the men seized and overpowered the pair and threw them out to meet their horrible fate. Then they succeeded in rousing their horses to a last effort, and though attacked in turn, beat off the wolves and eventually reached Tashkent, the only 2 survivors of the happy party which had set out from Ostenpov. Both men were in a semi-demented state from their experience. End quote.